Hi, it's Marcus, and I want to talk about very special customers that come into our restaurant. These people have celiac disease, and they're actually gluten-free. Gluten is a protein that's found in grains, and most grains, like wheat, rye, barley, oats even have, because of cross-contamination or lower amounts. So grain, the protein in grain, there's certain people out there that cannot digest this, and it really screws their system up. Some of them get really sick, and some of them just have allergies or intolerances to wheat or wheat protein, gluten, which might give them a headache or something or make them drowsy. There's a certain group of people out there called celiac, and some celiac people that are at the worst case, if they have one tiny drop of a pizza crust getting into their food, it'll make them very sick. These people are called celiac. They have celiac disease. They cannot tolerate the gluten or the protein of grain whatsoever. So when a customer comes in and they're celiac disease, the first thing is we don't give them bread because bread has gluten. Bread's made from wheat. Even though it's whole wheat, it's still gluten, a lot of gluten there. We give them our poppadoms. Poppadoms are gluten-free. You go in the kitchen, you say, I have a gluten-free table, can I get an order of poppadoms? And they'll give you that. They won't charge because it's in place of the bread. Now make sure when you have a celiac table that you really put it on the ticket. All of our menu items are not marked because we really want you to interact and really have an interaction where there's not a for sure thing like yes or no on the menu, because then we don't want to assume all the time. We really want to understand that these people have to be taken very, very good care of, and we have to make sure when something goes in the kitchen, because we have a gluten-free pizza option, we have lots of gluten-free options. We have gluten-free pasta that we can cook to order. So we really need to go in the kitchen and say, I have somebody with a gluten allergy, severe celiac, and the kitchen will know what you're talking about. And mark the ticket off and understand, really, and tell everybody else on staff so nobody else hands them bread in 5 minutes down the road. Some people, you know, are really uptight and they don't want the bread or anything even on the table. But most people just don't want it on their plate. So if it's a party of two and only one celiac, the one person might still want bread. So you just need to ask, you know, would anybody else in the party, would they still like bread? Do you mind if I bring bread? Make sure you ask. Just don't ever assume and just bring some bread and this or that. So it's extremely important. These celiac customers are one of our biggest growing customers here because there's not many places to eat if you're celiac. You can't have a brownie, you can't have, you know, all these things that we're able to do here. We can do pasta, we can do our brownie, we can do our chocolate torte. We can do pizza. We have a gluten-free pizza made out of a rice crust, a whole grain rice crust, which to get gluten-free pizza is almost impossible. More and more places are being able to do it now, but when we started doing this 5-6 years ago, nobody was doing this. I mean, it was amazing. Nobody would touch this, and believe me, this is a bit of a liability. So if you tell a customer that we can do something that's gluten-free, we've got to make sure as a collective staff that we're really doing it. We don't get somebody sick. It's very, 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 very important for that. So to recap this, gluten-free people are celiac people are gluten-free. They can't have any protein that's found in any of the grains like wheat, rye, barley. So we have to avoid all of those grains from their diet, from their plates here, which we do a very good job. And that you just have to communicate with the whole staff so the whole staff knows, all right? And let's make these celiac customers feel at home here, like they can come back. We have a lot of diehard celiac people that come here that just can't eat anywhere else, they don't trust anywhere else, and we go to the extra mile to make sure that they're comfortable. Oh, and one more thing, we have a gluten-free beer, gristmill. It's made from corn, it's made from sorghum. So for a gluten-free person to have a beer and pizza is a huge, huge thing because they can't get that in many places. Now, beer has gluten because it's made from barley and grains, and that's, you know, that's how you make beer. Now, scotches and everything use grains as well. But here's the thing, in the distilling process, the gluten's found in the protein. When you distill a spirit, you're leaving back all the protein. So we actually have some scientific literature here at the restaurant that proves, without a doubt, scientifically, that the gluten is left back in the distillation process. It can't get distilled because when you distill something, you're taking out all the impurities, you're taking everything out, and you're left with, you know, just the pure extraction. Distilling leaves all the protein back, and when it's distilled through the coils or through the columns, what's left in the spirit is actually gluten-free. Now, some gluten-free people know that, and if they don't know it, you know, you can explain it to them, but don't argue with them because you don't want anybody to ever feel uncomfortable. But as far as spirits, because that might be a question you're asked, spirits are gluten-free, so that's a huge, huge thing, all right? So let's take care of our celiac customers. Let's make them feel at home here, and let's all understand what they need, because it's very, very important. Thanks.